I'm good to meet you. Hello, it's nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Harvey, the local doctor. Oh, hello, I'm Penny. The new farmer we've been expecting and whose appearance sparked many a controversy. I'm Elliot. I live in a little cabin by the beach. It's a pleasure to meet you. Hi, I'm Clint. Hello, you must be Flora Joy, the new farmer. I'm Caroline. Oh, you weren't exactly what I imagined, but that's okay. I'm Jody. Oh, a stranger. My name's Vincent. Mama says not to talk to strangers, but you seem okay. I perform regular checkups and medical procedures for all of the residents of Pelican Town. It's rewarding work. Oh, you're the new farm girl or whatever, aren't you? Haley's too involved with her camera to notice you. I sell livestock and animal care products at my ranch. You should swing by sometime. Hi. Oh, I can read it on your face. You're going to love Pelican Town. If you're looking for something to do in the evening, stop by the tavern where I work. Oh, aren't you the one who just moved in? I'm Maru. I've been looking forward to meeting you. Welcome to the Stardrop Salon. Can I get you anything? Hey kid, the name's Pam. You picked a good time to move here. The spring is lovely. It's kind of a shame, really. I always enjoyed exploring those overgrown fields by myself. My husband runs the general store here. And have you met my daughter Abigail? She's the pale one with the purple hair. Nothing like a sip of the good stuff to warm these old bones. I don't know you. Why are you talking to me? Have you met everyone in town yet? That sounds exhausting. Greetings, I'm Demetrius, local scientist and father. Thanks for introducing yourself. A stranger? Hello. Oh, you just moved in, right? Cool. Out of all the places in the world you could live, you chose Pelican Town? Returning to discussing the Norse pantheon. It is speculated that Frigg and the goddess Freyja were one and the same, but surviving records are too vague to either confirm or deny this. Freyja was a goddess of love, sex, and lust, as well as war and cats, and something called Sidir. Sidir was essentially divination, but with the added ability to influence the future. Freyja, like Odin, rules an afterlife where those who fall in battle reside. This realm is called Folkvanger. She was held in high regard among Norse followers, particularly women, as she was seen as more approachable than the other gods, and therefore easier to pray to and thank. There are also stories of her loaning her mythical cloak to humanity, which seems to be pretty uncommon among the gods. With the rise of Christianity, Freyja in particular was often demonized for being quite erotic. The acceptable association of fertility became a virgin like Virgin Mary, rather than a more lustful goddess like Freyja. Do you remember how earlier I said we'd get into Baldr's death in a bit? Well, Baldr dreamed of his death, and told his mother Frigg. As a result, Frigg made all things, except one, swear never to hurt her son. The exception, as Loki learned while in disguise, was the plant mistletoe. The reason for this was because mistletoe was too new to the world to swear such an oath. I think it's implied that the gods kept shooting things at Baldr to test his immortality. Baldr, of course, remained unscathed until Loki convinced Baldr's brother to shoot a bow and arrow at him. But unbeknownst to the brother, Loki had tied mistletoe to the arrow. When Baldr was killed, his wife Nanna died of her grief and was burned in his funeral pyre with him. Frigg beseeched the gods to return Baldr from hell, even offering her favor to whoever succeeded. but every attempt was thwarted by a Jotun or frost giant that is thought to be Loki in disguise. Baldr's father, Odin, conceived another son for the sole purpose of avenging Baldr's death. This son was said to be a master fighter and archer. He's even one of the few gods that survive Ragnarok. His name is Valli. I believe that Odin expected Valli to kill Loki. However, he instead took his vengeance upon the brother that had unwittingly killed Baldr. Loki's role in this tale is unsurprising considering his role as a god of trickery and mischief. Most of the gods' last names are their father's name with the suffix son or doter. Loki is a bit of an exception as he took his mother's first name to be the prefix of his last name. Lefaeson. Why did he do this? Well, likely because his father wasn't a god and his mother was. His father was one of the Jotun or giants. Or perhaps he just wanted to disrupt tradition. Loki was not always the antagonistic force that we see in the depiction of Ragnarok. While he frequently played pranks and tricks on the other gods, he often made up for it tenfold, particularly with gifts such as Thor's hammer, Sif's golden hair, and Odin's spear. And even Odin's six-legged horse, who is actually Odin's offspring, from when he seduced the horse of a giant, which he did because said giant agreed to help build Midgard in exchange for the hand of Freyja in marriage and possibly also the sun and or moon. Loki told the gods to go ahead and agree to the deal and that he would handle it. He impregnated the giant's horse to distract the giant so that the giant could not finish the task by the deadline and therefore would not receive his payment. He also helped Thor to retrieve his hammer, Mjolnir, when it was stolen by the king of giants. To do this, he convinced Thor to dress up as Freyja, and he dressed up as one of her handmaidens. The giant held a feast in Freyja's honor. At the feast, Thor ate an amount of food that probably only Thor could eat. And the giant almost realized that he wasn't Freyja, but Loki covered for him, claiming that Freyja hadn't eaten in several days in anticipation for this feast. They were ultimately able to retrieve Thor's hammer. And while that story is fascinating on its own, what's even more fascinating is some of the language used to refer to Loki in the story. While the two were both disguised as women, Thor is still referred to using masculine pronouns, whereas Loki is referred to using feminine pronouns. It's unclear whether this is because he is shapeshifted and he is fully embodying the shape he is shifted into, or if it's because he has a different relationship with his gender than Thor does. Either way, the use of this language is significant. The story also does not mean that Thor and Loki got along all of the time. In fact, it seems that Loki feared Thor, and that Thor was the only one that could bring Loki into line. Once at a feast of the gods, Loki killed a few servants and started insulting all of the gods, and only stopped when Thor showed up and put a stop to it. Thor was the son of Odin, and a god of storms and strength, but also sacred groves and trees, as well as protection and fertility. While it's the most famous, Thor's hammer is not the only legendary relic that he possesses. He even required the use of one of these relics to, more successfully at least, use his hammer. These iron gloves were called Yarn Gripper. He also had a belt which would double his already considerable strength, Megamord, and even a staff called Gridalvamor.